Hey ladies and gentlemen, Chef Cutting here. I want to talk to you a little bit about one of those awesome recipes I make, beef satay with peanut butter dipping sauce. And I'm going to be making this for you exclusively for the food stuff people. And why am I doing that? Well, because food stuff gives me all the things I need, from bamboo skewers to small little souffle cups to beautiful looking glass simulated products that I can put on my plate and make look incredibly real. Not only that, but it gives it an enhancement on the plate that is untouchable. These folks at Food Stuff have got things that you can add to your plates within seconds without impacting a lot of food cost. So let me give you some great examples. Let's make the beef satay, and I promise you, you're gonna love this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get moving here. This is going to be the wonderful beef satay with peanut sauce. So we're going to get started. I'm going to read you the ingredients, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do to get prepped up. This is a teaspoon of naturally brewed soy sauce, tablespoon of natural peanut butter, a teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. This is a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of toasted sesame seeds, and a teaspoon of sesame seed oil. I'm going to be using beef tenderloin. This is a choice cut. This is a really nice piece of steak. It's a filet. And I'm also going to be using these bamboo skewers from Food Stuff. These are so cool, aren't they? Look at how beautiful they are. They're really going to make our beef satay look very fancy and very enhanced. And then I'm also using from Food Stuff this nice little clear acrylic bowl. Kind of shaped in an oriental setting with a square bowl as opposed to a circular one, and we're going to be putting our sauce in that. So I'm going to be using a white plate to display it, so let's get moving, and we'll get started by cutting the beef first. Okay, well the first thing I did was I trimmed the meat, and I took all of the skin. You see that right there? I purposely left that so you could see it, right? That is okay. It's a little piece of fat. But I took all the silver skin, all the snoo, all the cartilage, everything off the beef, because the last thing you want is for someone to take your steak to satay on a steak, put it in their mouth, and have to chew on that for about 5 minutes. So we've removed all that from the steak. You get lucky sometimes, and you get a really nice clean steak. This one wasn't so lucky. I found a lot inside the middle, so I took it all out. But just make sure that you don't look at like the fatty sides of the steak and think, oh, I got to get all that out there too, because you do need it to render through the meat and make it really tasty. But stuff like this stuff where it's silver skin and it's fat, you got to remove all that because that's just not edible. And it doesn't taste good either. So now we're going to move on to cutting the steak. Okay, so here we are. We're ready to cut the steak. Now you can see the grain of the meat goes up and down, so north and south right now. We want to cut our strips thinly along the side here. So you're going to need a sharp knife. We're going to make about 4 strips going across like this, thin strips. And very, very important to remember, do not cut on a bias. It's got to be a complete straight, because this will make the beef as tender as it is in a fillet. If you cut this way with the grain, it will be chewy. So you don't want to do that. Alright, so we've cut it into 4 equal pieces. Of course, the shapes change because obviously as the meat gets thinner, it's more difficult to cut. But basically, you're shooting for something like these two. Actually, these 3 are good. This is the end piece, so it's going to be a little smaller. But it will look the same once we put it on the skewer, so let's get skewering. Okay, so you can see right here we have skewered the meat. It looks really good, right? It's nice and flat. We're going to lay this on the barbecue. If you don't have a grill, you can do this on a flat plate on your stove, or you can even bake this on a tray, but I'm going to use a grill. And the reason why I put them on the skewer first before I season them is because I don't want there to be a lot of oil and excess of ingredients all sprayed all over the place. It's easier to do this and then just baste the satay as we grill it. So I'm going to show you how we make that little basting marinade for us as we go, but this is how it looks. Now, in order to do this properly, I'll get you a close-up here, you want to just thread the meat like a sewing stitch. So you're going in and out. So you can see I went into there, then I pushed the meat and I went into here, then I pushed the meat and I went into there, and then I pushed the meat and then I went into there. So it's kind of a looping effect. You see that? Okay? And you want to press it down as much as possible, because when we do the satay, we're actually going to have the grill marks on it, and it's really going to look good. That's why I always suggest use a barbecue or a flat top with grill marks or hash marks on it for your stove, and this will really come out looking wonderful. Okay, basically we're going to take the pepper here, which is right there in this bowl, and then we're going to take the sesame seed oil, and we're going to pour that right inside the pepper, okay? We're going to mix that up, and then we're going to baste that on our satay. Okay, I'm going to use a silicone brush like this, and I'm just simply going to dab the pepper in the oil like so, and then I'm just going to go ahead and baste each one of the satay sticks with the mixture. And then I'm going to transfer them to a plate. I'm going to bring the remainder of the mixture with me, and then we're going to put this on the barbecue. This is going to be good. Okay, so we're going to head off to the barbecue with this, and we're going to start grilling. But what I want to do is I want to show you how to make the sauce, so by the time we're finished grilling this, we can put the plate together right away. Okay, the sauce is really simple. I'm going to take the soy sauce, the peanut butter, the chilies, and the olive oil, and I'm going to place them in a mixing bowl, and then I'm just going to mix all the contents together. I'm only going to use half of the olive oil, though. I'm not going to use all of it. Okay, here we go. First things first, I'm going to put half of the olive oil in there. Then I'm going to put the chili peppers in there. You can use flakes too. Then I'm going to put the soy sauce in there. And then I'm going to put the peanut butter in there. Okay, folks, so now I'm just going to go ahead and mix this contents around to make my beautiful satay sauce. And then once I've finished making this sauce, I'm going to go ahead and put it in that nice, wonderful dish I got from Foodstuff. And I'm going to put that on a nice, beautiful lipped bowl. So when we finish this up, this sauce is going to be amazing. This is the kind of consistency you want the sauce to be. And you certainly want the sauce to sit there for at least 5 to 10 minutes so it can really start infusing that flavor of the chili pepper, because we want this sauce to be sweet but a little bit spicy. Today also I'm going to add an option in there. It's not necessary, but I'm going to do it because I like the sauce to be a little sweeter. So I'm going to put a little bit of honey in there, and it's just going to be a dollop. It's not going to be very much, but I'm just going to put just a little touch of honey, just to give it a little sweetness to the flavor and kind of offset the the sharpness and savoriness of the soy sauce. And there you have it, folks. There is your satay sauce. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so I've transferred that satay sauce to that wonderful acrylic dressing, or rather that acrylic simulated Oriental style dish from my friends at Foodstuff, and I'm placing it in the middle, as I said before, a nice medium lipped white bowl. I'm also going to use some of my sesame seeds to kind of accent this, because there's sesame seed oil on the steak itself. And I'm just going to put a little on there just to kind of give it some flair. But what we are going to do is we're going to use the remainder of these sesame seeds on our beef satay. So let's head off to the barbecue. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and put our skewers right on the grill like so. Oh, that looks good. And we're just going to make sure that they're nice and flat on there. We don't want the wood to burn too much, so we want to make sure that we keep a good watchful eye on that. That's the best way to do it, folks, just like that. Keep the sticks from the heat by doing it like this. Okay, as they're basting, I'm just going to baste them with a little more of that marinade oil we made, just to get both sides really nice and flavorful. And make sure you're keeping these far from the heat, from the outside of the heat, so that they're not getting ruined. As you can see, I had a victim there, but we can still make this work looking really good. So I've turned all of the skewers over now for their final cook. I'm watching, making sure that I keep all of the wood away from the flame. And it's really got a really nice grill mark there. And this is just going to look very good on the plate. Okay, we're at our finishing stages now. I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of the sesame seeds and just put them on the top here. I want to do them the last because I don't want them to burn. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do that and flip them to the other side. Do the same thing again. And we're going to put that wonderful sesame seed on both sides of the satay. And that is just about ready, folks. We're ready to pull it off. And there you have it, folks. That just looks so marvelous. We're going to go ahead and bring this in and get it started to plate. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to plate this up. I have my beef skewers here. I have a little victim right there, but just remember, always keep those off of the barbecue like this, and that won't happen. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is, I went to the garden, I grabbed myself a little sprig of rosemary to accent the sauce. You could use chives, or you could use scallions, whatever you deem appropriate. But let's get ahead and just go ahead and start plating this up. I'm going to go in a diamond shape here with this wonderful Foodstuff acrylic that I have for my sauce. And I'm just going to continue to place the skewers just like that, so that they're still continuing to have that wonderful loop displayed outside of the plate. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my rosemary sprig and I'm going to put that right in the middle of the sauce like so. That looks really cool. And then the last piece I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these sesame seeds and I'm going to place them just strategically to fill in the white part of the plate like so. And I don't want to overpower the plate with the sesame seeds, but just to kind of fill in that white spot there. And folks, if you want to make this with 3 or 4 tenderloins and have 20 skewers in the bowl, that looks beautiful. But as an appetizer to your guests, you could make this as an appetizer, or you could make this as a family-style meal where you put it out on the table with 20 plus skewers and you have a much bigger bowl of sauce. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Beef satay with peanut sauce served to you from Chef Cutting and the great folks over at Foodstuff. You got to get this stuff to make your plates look so much better. It looks so good and it's so inexpensive. When I give you beef satay with peanut sauce, it just looks amazing. Bon appetit.